I paid for our family vacation, but they ditched me to hang with my cousin. So, I canceled the trip and left a note on the fridge. My aunt's screaming voicemail was priceless. So picture this, I'm 29, working my tail off at a marketing firm in San Francisco, pulling down decent money but barely seeing my family except for awkward holiday dinners where everyone's on their phones. I figured it was time to do something about it, you know? Like maybe we could actually bond over something other than arguing about politics or whose turn it is to bring the potato salad. That's when I got this brilliant idea, or what I thought was brilliant at the time. Lake Tahoe, family vacation. My treat. I'm talking about renting one of those sick lakefront houses with the wraparound deck, getting a pontoon boat for the week, stocking up on everything from Bud Light to those fancy steaks from Whole Foods, the whole 9 yards. When I pitched it to everyone during Sunday dinner at Mom and Dad's place, you should have seen their faces light up. Mom practically squealed, no joke, and Dad started going on about how he hadn't been fishing in years. My Aunt Karen was already planning what she'd pack, and my cousin Leah was bouncing in her chair like a golden retriever who just heard the word walk. "This is so generous of you, honey," Mom kept saying, squeezing my hand across the table. "You're such a thoughtful daughter." Dad nodded along, already pulling up fishing spots on his iPhone. "We should make this an annual thing. Family bonding, you know?" Even Aunt Karen was being unusually nice to me, which honestly should have been my first red flag. She's usually got something snarky to say about my job or my apartment or why I'm still single. But that night, nothing but praise about how mature and responsible I was being. So I went all out. Found this incredible 4-bedroom house right on the water. We're talking panoramic lake views, hot tub on the deck, fire pit for evening s'mores. The works. Cost me nearly $3,000 just for the week, but hey, family's family, right? Then there was the pontoon rental. Another $800. Groceries for 6 people for a week. You do the math on that one when you're shopping at Whole Foods and Costco trying to make sure everyone's happy. I even made a whole itinerary, printed it out on nice paper and everything, color-coded by day. Monday was arrival and settling in, Tuesday was the lake activities, Wednesday was hiking some of those gorgeous Tahoe trails, Thursday was a day trip to this cute little town nearby, Friday was relaxation day, and Saturday was pack up and departure. I had restaurant recommendations, backup indoor activities in case of weather, even a playlist for the pontoon boat. Update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments so far. I know some of you are probably thinking I should have seen this coming, but honestly, I was just excited about finally doing something nice for my family. Trust me, it gets worse. Should I have confronted them directly about what I overheard next, or was my reaction justified? The vacation was supposed to start on a Saturday morning. Friday night, I'm at my parents' house helping pack up the coolers and making sure we've got everything sorted. I run upstairs to grab my phone charger from my old room when I hear voices drifting up from the kitchen. Not unusual. Everyone was hanging out, having a few beers, getting pumped for the trip. But then I heard my name, and something in the tone made me freeze at the top of the stairs. "I just think it would be more fun if it was just us," Leah was saying. "Like, she's cool and all, but she's kind of intense about planning everything. Remember her birthday party last year? She had a schedule for opening presents." I felt my stomach drop, but I stayed put listening. "Leah's got a point," Aunt Karen chimed in. "She means well, but she can be a bit much. Always has been, even as a kid. Remember how she used to correct everyone's grammar at Christmas dinner?" "That's not fair," Mom said, but her voice was weak, like she was just going through the motions of defending me. "I'm not saying she's a bad person," Leah continued, and I could hear that fake sweet tone she uses when she's being manipulative. "I just think we'd all be more relaxed without her constantly organizing everything. Plus, she'll probably want to stick to that itinerary she made instead of just going with the flow." Dad's voice joined in. "Well, she did pay for everything, which we're grateful for," Aunt Karen said quickly. "But that doesn't mean we can't adjust the plans a little. Maybe she could do her own thing for a day or two. She likes hiking, right? She could go explore by herself while we hang out at the house." The conversation continued, but I'd heard enough. They were literally planning to ditch me on the vacation I was paying for. Not just ditch me, actively scheming to get rid of me so they could have more fun without me around. I stood there on those creaky old stairs, feeling like I was 12 years old again, overhearing similar conversations about how I was too serious, or not fun enough compared to perfect bubbly Leah, who could do no wrong in anyone's eyes. See, this wasn't new. Growing up, Leah was always the golden child, even though she's technically my cousin. Every family gathering, every holiday, every celebration somehow became about her. When we were kids, she got the bigger Christmas presents. When we were teenagers, she got the car for her 16th birthday while I got a lecture about responsibility and earning things myself. In college, her parents paid her full tuition while I worked 3 jobs and took out loans. And the crazy part? Everyone always acted like this was totally normal. Like, of course, Leah deserved special treatment because she was artistic and free-spirited, while I was just the responsible one who'd figure things out on my own. Standing there listening to them plan my exclusion from my own vacation, I felt that familiar sting of being the afterthought, the reliable one who pays for things, but isn't quite worthy of being included in the actual fun. But here's the thing. I wasn't 12 anymore. I had options. I went back to my room, closed the door quietly, and pulled out my laptop. First thing I did was check the cancellation policy on the house rental. Turns out I had until noon the next day to cancel and get back 80% of my deposit. The pontoon rental had a similar policy. Even some of the groceries I'd pre-ordered could be canceled. I sat there staring at the screen, cursor hovering over the cancel reservation button. Part of me wanted to march downstairs and confront them all, demand an explanation, make them feel guilty for treating me like garbage after I'd spent my hard-earned money trying to bring everyone together. But another part of me, the part that was tired of always being the mature one, the understanding one, the one who swallows her hurt feelings for the sake of family harmony, had a different idea. Update. The messages and support from you all are incredible. Some of you asked if I gave them a chance to explain or apologize. Honestly, after years of this pattern, I was done giving chances. Here's where things get really interesting, though. What would you have done in my situation? Also, brace yourselves for Aunt Karen's reaction. I canceled everything. House, boat, groceries, the works. It took about an hour of phone calls and clicking through websites, but by midnight Friday, our big family bonding vacation was officially off the books. I got back about $2,400 total, which honestly felt pretty good sliding back into my checking account. Then came the fun part, the note. I grabbed a piece of paper from Mom's junk drawer, the same one where she keeps expired coupons and broken pens, and wrote, "Hey family! Since you all seem to think the vacation would be more fun without me around, I figured I'd help you out. Everything's canceled, house, boat, all of it. Turns out you're right, it will be way more relaxing without me there organizing everything. Enjoy your summer, XOXO. I stuck it right on the fridge with one of those ridiculous magnets Mom collects. This one was shaped like a flip-flop that said, "Life's a beach." The irony wasn't lost on me. By 6 a.m. Saturday morning, I was in my Honda CR-V heading east toward Colorado. I'd thrown some camping gear and hiking clothes in my car, grabbed my camera, and hit the road. If they wanted me gone, fine. But I was going to have the vacation of my life without them. The drive to Rocky Mountain National Park is absolutely gorgeous, by the way. Nothing like cruising through those mountain passes with the windows down, blasting some good music, feeling like you're in a freaking Toyota commercial or something. I stopped at this little diner in Utah where the waitress called me honey, and the coffee was strong enough to wake the dead. My phone started blowing up around 9 a.m. First it was Mom, just calling normally, then Dad. Then the calls started coming back to back. I let them all go to voicemail. By the time I hit Colorado, I had 17 missed calls and about 30 text messages. But here's the thing, I wasn't ready to deal with their drama yet. I was too busy feeling free for the first time in years. I checked into this cute little cabin outside Estes Park, nothing fancy but perfect for one person who just wanted some peace and quiet. Unpacked my stuff, made myself a sandwich, and finally listened to the voicemails. Mom's first message was confused but calm. "Honey, what's this note about? Call me back, we need to talk about this." Dad's was similar. "Kiddo, I think there's been some misunderstanding. Give us a call." But then came Aunt Karen's messages, and oh boy, this woman went full nuclear. "How dare you cancel everything at the last minute? Do you have any idea how disappointed Leah is? We've been planning this for weeks. This is the most selfish, immature thing you've ever done, and that's saying something. You owe us an explanation." The next one was even better. "I cannot believe you would sabotage a family vacation over some imagined slight. Leah is crying, your parents are upset, and frankly, this just proves that you're exactly as self-centered as I've always thought you were." Leah's texts were a masterpiece of manipulation. "I can't believe you would hurt the family like this. We were all so excited, Mom is literally crying. How could you be so mean? I thought we were close." I'm sitting there in my little cabin, looking out at these incredible mountain views, reading these messages and feeling nothing. Well, not nothing, exactly. Relief, maybe? Like finally the mask was off. No more pretending we were all one big happy family. No more me trying to buy their affection with generosity they clearly didn't appreciate. So I did what any reasonable person would do. I turned off my phone and went hiking. The trails around Rocky Mountain National Park are insane, and I mean that in the best possible way. I spent the next 3 days hiking everything from easy lake walks to challenging peak climbs. I took probably 1,000 photos, met some really cool people on the trails, and slept better than I had in months. No schedule, no itinerary, no one asking me to organize anything or fix anything or pay for anything. Just me, the mountains, and all the time in the world. Update. You guys are absolutely savage in the comments and I'm here for it. Someone asked what happened when I finally turned my phone back on. Let's just say the family group chat was quite the read. But wait until you hear about the social media situation and how this whole thing played out over the next few weeks. Also, Leah's true colors really started showing. When I finally turned my phone back on Wednesday morning, I had 43 missed calls and over 100 text messages. The family group chat, which usually got maybe 5 messages a month about birthday reminders and shared recipes, had exploded into complete chaos. Aunt Karen was still going off. She's holding this family hostage with her money and her attitude. This is emotional manipulation at its finest. Dad was trying to play peacemaker. Let's all just calm down and figure this out when she gets home. But Mom surprised me. About halfway through the chat, she'd written, "Maybe we need to think about why she felt like she had to do this." Leah was playing the victim hard. I just don't understand what I did wrong. I've always looked up to her and now she hates me. The individual messages to me ranged from angry to pleading to downright nasty. Aunt Karen called me manipulative and vindictive. Dad asked me to be the bigger person. Mom begged me to come home so we could talk. But the kicker was a message from my cousin Jake, Aunt Karen's son who usually stays out of family drama. He wrote, "Dude, I heard what happened. Good for you. They've been talking about ditching you since you first mentioned the trip." Aunt Karen kept saying you were too controlling, and Leah said you'd ruin the fun. You dodged a bullet. So there it was. Confirmation that this wasn't some spur-of-the-moment conversation I'd overheard. They'd been planning to exclude me from day one. Instead of responding to any of them, I posted a photo on Instagram. Me on this gorgeous mountain peak, arms spread wide, biggest smile on my face with the caption, "Sometimes the best family vacation is the one you take alone. Rocky Mountain National Park. You're incredible." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Friends from work, college buddies, even some acquaintances started commenting and DMing me. "You look so happy. Solo travel is the best. Good for you for doing something for yourself." My friend Jessica from college wrote, "Girl, I've been waiting for you to put yourself first for years. You deserve so much better than people who only appreciate you when they need something." Meanwhile, the family chat had gone quiet. Silence for almost 12 hours. Then Leah posted on her own Instagram, a selfie with red, puffy eyes and the caption, "When family lets you down. Guess some people care more about money than relationships." The pettiness was unreal. But you know what? I didn't even care anymore. I was too busy having the time of my life. I spent the rest of the week hiking, reading, and just being alone, with my thoughts. I realized how much energy I'd been spending trying to maintain relationships with people who saw me as a checkbook with legs. How many times I'd swallowed my hurt feelings to keep the peace. How often I'd been the one to apologize even when I wasn't wrong. When I finally drove home the following Sunday, I felt like a completely different person. Stronger, maybe. More sure of what I was worth. The house was quiet when I pulled into the driveway. No cars in the driveway except Mom and Dad's. I let myself in with my key, and they were both sitting at the kitchen table like they were waiting for me. "We need to talk," Mom said, but her voice was gentle, not angry. So we talked. Really talked. Maybe for the first time in years. Dad apologized. First. "We heard what you heard that night. Jake told us you were upstairs when we were all talking, and honey, we're sorry. We got caught up in..." "I don't know what we got caught up in." Mom was crying. "I should have shut that conversation down immediately. You've always been so generous with this family, and we took advantage of that. We took advantage of you." They told me that Aunt Karen and Leah had spent the entire weekend calling and texting, trying to get them to make me refund the money they thought they deserved for the canceled trip. When Mom and Dad refused, Aunt Karen had gone nuclear, accusing them of enabling my selfishness. "What did you tell her?" I asked. Dad actually smiled. "I told her that maybe if she'd raised Leah to be half as thoughtful and responsible as you, she wouldn't need to depend on other people's generosity for her vacations." Apparently that hadn't gone over well. Aunt Karen had hung up and hadn't called back. Over the next few weeks, the family dynamics shifted in ways I never expected. Without me there to organize everything and smooth over conflicts, the usual family gatherings fell apart. Aunt Karen stopped hosting Sunday dinners because, as she put it, some people clearly don't appreciate family time anyway. Leah tried reaching out a few times, but her messages were always about what I could do for her. Could I help her move apartments? Could I lend her money for a car repair? Could I design some marketing materials for her Etsy shop? When I politely declined each request, the messages stopped coming. The best part? I started planning more solo trips, photography workshops in Sedona, a weekend in Portland checking out the food scene, a camping trip to Yosemite where I met this group of other solo travelers who became genuine friends. I also started setting boundaries with my family. Sunday dinners became optional, and I only went when I felt like it. Holiday gifts were limited to a reasonable budget that didn't strain my finances. And when anyone suggested family trips or activities, I made it clear that my participation wasn't dependent on my wallet. Some relationships survived the shift, and some didn't. Mom and Dad and I are actually closer now than we've been in years because our relationship isn't built on what I can provide for them. Jake and I text regularly, and he's become one of my favorite family members. Aunt Karen and I barely speak, which honestly has made family gatherings way more peaceful. And Leah? Well, without her built-in support system constantly praising her and funding her lifestyle, she's had to face some hard truths about herself. Last I heard, she was working at a Starbucks and living with 3 roommates, complaining to anyone who'd listen about how unfair life is. As for me, I'm doing great. I signed up for a photography class, started a travel blog that's actually getting some decent traffic, and I'm planning a solo trip to Iceland next month. I've got a savings account that isn't constantly drained by other people's expectations, and for the first time in my adult life, I'm spending my money on things that actually make me happy. The funny thing is, I thought canceling that vacation would damage my relationships with my family. Instead, it forced everyone to show their true colors. The people who really cared about me stuck around and made an effort to do better. The ones who only saw me as a convenient ATM revealed themselves and faded away. And honestly, I've never been happier to be wrong about something in my life. So, yeah, that's my story. Sometimes the best family vacation really is the one you take alone, and sometimes you have to cancel a few plans to figure out who's actually worth making plans with in the future. To anyone out there who's tired of being taken for granted by people who are supposed to love you, trust me, you're worth more than what you can provide for other people. Don't be afraid to walk away from relationships that only value your wallet. The people who matter will figure out how to appreciate you for who you are, not what you can do for them. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some Icelandic hiking trails to research.